well, Friday marked the beginning of the month of Pisces, which means it's time to have a look at what's ahead in it for the country and for yourself. It certainly looks like the president is getting a bit of a break just for the next week or two before the third volume of the Zondo report comes out. And right now, it's looking as if things are floating along pretty smoothly for him. Looks like President Ramaphosa is still in the challenging position that he's been in for months. And as much as it might seem as if there's greater unity, as if the cabinet is protecting him and is in agreement with him, there is no sign that the war that is going on behind him and about him is abating in any way. There are in fact some changes being shown in government, and it's probable that to everyone's surprise he will make one or two changes to that cabinet within the month, or at least if they're not changes to the cabinet, there are rather unexpected changes in policy or direction of some kind. While many commentators will say that Ramaphosa's seemingly greater shift towards the private sector's significance in this country, while many people will see that itself as a bit of a policy change, there does seem to be more in the wings, and in fact one or two major surprises could happen. There's a small chance that Ramaphosa could be the victim of a surprise. In other words, perhaps another cabinet minister doing a bit of a Lindiwe Sisulu and doing things outside of rank and outside of expectation. Is a small chance for that. But I think there is a great chance that South Africans are going to be surprised, hopefully for the better, by some of Ramaphosa's actions before this month of Pisces is over. Remember, an astrological month ends in the third week of the calendar month. So plenty to see happening in that way, but certainly for the first while, including immediately after the release of that report, the president looks like he's in his comfort zone. And maybe is getting ready for something. Unfortunately, the astrological chart suggests there's still a lot of stuff he doesn't see, and perhaps he's allowing himself to believe some of his own great fantasies about his party and his government and the world that he's living in, as opposed to the world that the rest of us seem to be living in. What might be propping that up is, for a while, some continuing stability or improvement in the financial situation before that returns to a more familiar territory. Right now, as I speak, for example, the Rand is doing very well, and there may even be a possibility of new investment, but this area of the chart shows as continuing to fluctuate over the next month. So we can't rest on our laurels that things are working well. Still, it does look like there will be some new investment attracted, and perhaps from different places than usual. So that could include significant foreign investment from somewhere where we haven't really seen it before, or just perhaps where we haven't had any major connection with before. The end result of that is that for the most part, financial situation looks pretty good over the month ahead. Labour is mixed. It does look like, as we would expect, there is some adverse reaction to Ramaphosa's leaning towards the private sector, and there could be some unrest or serious instability during the course of this month. But if that's the case, that will get properly sorted out, or will be dealt with in a good way. The chart does show that while there's a lot of focus in that area, it does look as if the government or the ruling party is able to persuade their allies or work with their allies in a way that works for the country. There seems to be also further emphasis on the services, and that looks like we're talking about the ongoing conflict between the Minister of Police and the National Commissioner of Police, and the fact that the government doesn't really seem to be doing much about that. That looks like it's still going to escalate further over the next few weeks and might only reach a resolution in a month's time, and perhaps even more. That actually does look a little bit edgy, and there can even be some protests or some reactions within the services or around them. Perhaps that's by other parties or the people until that gets done. Certainly a very strong focus towards sorting out services, sorting out labor, those kind of things. One of the issues that is going to be back on the table, and a more significant issue than it has been before, is the issue of dealing with foreign workers. We know that it causes a lot of problems amongst local workers. At the same time, those foreign workers can face a lot of discrimination. It's an issue which the government has failed to deal with thus far, and it looks like there's a lot of attention in that regard, perhaps with the actual influence or interaction with a foreign power. Certainly a lot of the energy of what's getting sorted out this month seems to involve negotiation both with outsiders, with investors, and with important people within the business community and laborers themselves. Certainly looks like in some ways the government is trying to put the money where the mouth is and sort out matters with regards to labor, employment, who is involved and who is investing, and all of those things. For once, there may be at least a part of the State of the Nation address that becomes relevant and significant soon. But that does require the President breaking out of a little bit of the fantasy. The planet Neptune, the fantasy planet, is so strong in his chart on and off at this time that it's a little concerning that he might not be seeing everything that he needs to see. In other good news, there's signs that the tourism industry is beginning to recover. International travel is showing is very strong again, building in South Africa's chart, and perhaps we are on the road to a more normal life. There certainly are significant developments in terms of public health and policy with regards to that. We know that the state of disaster will be ending soon, and that is going to have an outstanding effect not only on the tourist industry but on the mental health of the nation and the resulting recovery of the economy. But in the meanwhile, what can you expect for yourself? Aries, the month before one's birthday is usually quite a challenging time, and you're coming up to that period now, but it's actually not looking so challenging for you. It looks like the amount of work, action, activity, and stuff to do in your life is still on the increase, and a lot of that is going to be beneficial to your professional life. There may very well be some changes in that regard, not major changes, and there are changes for the better. If in any way you're involved in international work or any foreign connections, these seem to improve significantly and increase significantly in the month ahead, and it looks like actually there might be so much work you're not going to be quite sure what to do with yourself. Remember, one of your challenges is staying power. You've got a lot of energy, you've got a lot of ability to apply yourself, but sometimes you can get distracted and you can suddenly overwhelm yourself by not developing a plan. So you need to develop a plan, and the plan you need to do is to put one thing in front of the other so that you develop a sequence, because it looks like you're going to be trying to juggle a whole bunch of stuff and might get yourself in a bit of a confused state because of all of that. But for the most part, things are working well, and you're getting a lot of support and help from those around you, your team or other people or resources you can draw on. So it looks like you're primed for success. It can only improve once your own birthday month comes around. Keep up the good work. Taurus, also a month of hard work for you, and also a month where you'll achieve great things with it, but you really need to keep a bit of an open mind and not be too rigid in your plan. Although your plan is great, and if you stick with what you're doing, you are going to get good results. The best advice the stars can give you this month is to make changes. It's time to act with a little bit of courage, and courage is not something you lack. So that should be relatively easy to do. In fact, the support around you looks very strong, both from co-workers, other workers, and your personal life. So this is the month to kind of make yourself do the things that have been on your mind, that have been maybe on your wish list. If only you could, this is time to go ahead. Taurus, the most important thing you can do at work this month is surprise them. Do the unexpected, do something differently than you've done it before. You've got nothing to lose. In fact, the more dramatically you change tack at this time, the better. For some Taurians, that's going to mean this is a month where your work changes. If there have been issues at work or difficulties of any kind, now is going to be the time when you're going to be able to make the changes necessary in order to get a much smoother ride. Also, to make changes at home, in your physical space, this is a great time if you need to do that, or just clear out a lot of space that's going on at home, and just make sure all this focus on work doesn't take focus away from your personal life. Gemini, your favorite activity seems to be what's really going to make your month work for you, and that is, of course, communication. Firstly, in terms of personal relationships, this is the time when, on the one hand, you need to be speaking up and speaking out, but on the other hand, you also need to be a little bit careful. You could be overwhelming your partner with words, ideas, and what will seem to them to be instructions and demands, which they have no sign of being astrologically speaking. In fact, it looks really great for relationships this month. So make sure you use that communication to clear the air and establish good connections. You're generally a very warm person, and friendship is very important, and it looks like there's a strong focus on friends and allies during the course of this month. So this is also the time to explain and communicate where necessary. You'll be understood and heard, and you can achieve many of your own goals and even some of your bigger goals by making sure communication stays open and by saying what you want and what you need. It looks like there's a little bit of destiny operating for you. This is the time when you can go forward to one of the major goals of your life, and it looks like there's cooperation again around you. Make sure that your partner and your friends are on the same page as you, so it's not seen as overwhelming, because it looks like friendship, companionship, and all of these things support the path that you're taking at this time. Cancerians, it looks like this is a month of dealing with your own inner needs and wishes and issues. This is a time to really withdraw a little bit towards yourself. You've been putting a lot of your energy towards other people over the last month or more, and now it's time to take a bit of a step back and deal with some inner stirrings that this is the chance to get rid of. Get rid of in the sense of dealing with some old baggage. You might have to take a long, hard look at yourself and face some of your own fears and perhaps things that you've been avoiding or sweeping under the carpet. You might also have to let go of some things or people that you have been holding on to unnecessarily, because this is a time when you also need to address how you value yourself, and do you value yourself properly, and do you show others that level of value, because of course they're not going to value you unless you value you. So Cancerians, this is a great time to get back into touch with what's valuable about you, for yourself, in your own life, and start letting go of some of the old stuff that you're carrying around that takes away from that value. Because right now your moon is strong, you are valuable, there's a lot of value to draw on. Acknowledge that and let go of some of the stuff in the past that you thought would bring you value. Leo, this is a good time for your own goals, for your going forward, and for things which involve you having to put yourself forward. In other words, where your persona or your strength of character or your strength of personality is what's driving things. All looks very good, but there seems to be an issue of balancing that out with what's going on in your personal life. In fact, the chart suggests that it's much more important that you focus on yourself than your relationships, because it does look as if you're making sacrifices, and ones which we would consider unnecessary sacrifices in your personal life. At the very least, you need to look at boundaries that should be happening in your personal life. Boundaries with respect to where your resources are being required or drawn upon by others that you have a relationship with, and boundaries in respect where you might be being taken advantage of in some kind of a way. So you don't need to push it to the point where you become the roaring lion that suddenly snaps his jaws. You can just establish good, healthy boundaries. So the challenge for you, Leos, during this month is really just about balance, and it's about making sure that your own needs and your own life and your own goals is well balanced with the energy that you're giving to your relationship, and that those that you have relationship with, even business partners, not just personal partners, understand those boundaries and support you rather than demand from you. Virgos, you're going to love this month because it's all about having to be practical, and you're really good at being practical. This is a great month to sort out your finances because for the most part it looks like your finances will be doing well. But sort out means you need to deal with people who owe you money. You may need to deal with people you owe money to as well. But this is the chance to clear all of that up because it looks like you're coming from a strong position, a resourceful position, so you have the finances and that you're in a position to really sort things out once and for all. You need to make sure that you establish some kind of a permanent solution to some of the issues that are occurring financially, because it does look like there is still some flux in that department of your life, and slowly things can return to how it was. So this is an opportunity to look for a more permanent fix to things that you've been dealing with over the last while, financially speaking. There is also some indication that you might be fooling yourself or being a little bit fooled in terms of what you want and where you stand. Just be sure that you're being appreciated at the moment and that others are not either taking advantage of you or simply just not seeing your value. There is also a need to make sure that in your personal relationships your value is properly seen and that there are good boundaries that help you assert what that value is. It's kind of like there is a bit of romanticism going on. That's great, but make sure that that doesn't lead you into a weakened position in your relationship. Libra, this is the time for behind the scenes work and action. It's time to really just quietly get on with your own thing, and amazingly it looks like the whole world wants to help you in some way. If you actually need help or need to request help, this is a great time to do it. If you need to rope others into your project or your work, or to get any kind of assistance you need, especially if you need assistance from those who provide special skills or special services. You're going to find it really easy to draw on any kind of human resources that you need. Despite it all being behind the scenes, it also looks as if some significant advances can be made on condition you're willing to accept the help and do the hard work. We often hear about finding our passions and needing to find our passions. If you're following a passion, this is really the perfect time to see results for that. But some of us don't always see it as a passion or experience it as a passion. It's really just about doing something which is in and of itself really, really worthwhile. And it looks like everything is aligning at the moment to make the thing that you're doing really worthwhile. Don't judge it objectively and say, in the greater scheme of things, what is the value of this? Really just ask yourself, can I put my heart into it? It looks like you can really put your heart into what you're doing this month, and others can support it, and that's going to make it work. That's going to make it be successful. Scorpio, it looks like everybody needs you this month, and that is going to work in your favor as long as you're careful to make your energy, to balance your energy. Make sure that you're not pulled at in all directions and drained, because it does look like there's a real danger of overdoing it this month, overwork or over anything else. This is a time to concentrate your energies and use them wisely. Being in demand means you can afford to be choosy, and it also means you've got to make sure that you're getting some reward or return for whatever it is you're doing. And it certainly looks like that is what's happening. Looks like this month could gradually increase your financial circumstances, but that does require a little care from yourself. If you're spreading yourself too thin, you're going to just end up being drained. You can actually afford to do less work for more gain if you're smart this month. If you can control yourself, because it also looks like you're impassioned and excited. So put some of that energy into personal projects as well. Don't just make yourself available to everyone else, although that's going to be good for you. Just make sure you take advantage of this time and put some energy into your own stuff, things that really work for you and things that you really like. That's what's going to make the financial circumstances improve, as well as put you into a stronger position with you feeling stronger and you understanding your own value a little bit better. Just balance things out so that you're also directing your own goals, not just doing what everyone else needs you to do. Sagittarius, it looks like there's some fun coming your way this month, so take advantage of the opportunity to really relax and get into the things that you love to do, the things that are fun and pleasurable. Of course, life isn't that all the time. You're going to have to do the work and all the usual things, but the priorities this month are about listening to your heart and listening to your soul and really just making sure that those things are attended to. Fortunately, relationships are looking good this month. There could be new relationships, or existing relationships could be providing some of that input you need that really gives you the space to rediscover what it is that you love and to make sure that you pursue what it is that you love. You might have been too caught up with other people's stuff or things which don't satisfy your heart. There's great opportunity to satisfy your heart. Things that you love and people that you love. All sorts of relationships are important at this particular time, not only romantic ones, but also relationships where you have a mutually interdependent relationship, where it's I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. So in terms of your goals and things that you're trying to achieve in your life, this is a time to look at who do I have that kind of relationship with? Maybe where can I draw in a few favors and offer something in return? Some work together, some symbiotic relationships, some shared efforts will go a long way this month. Capricorn, it looks like you're getting yourself deeper and deeper into all the hard work that you love. And although you do love working hard and you do achieve a lot working hard, you can also be overdoing it. This is a time when you actually should be taking a couple of steps back. It doesn't mean chilling out and relaxing. It does look like there is important work to be done, and that your services or abilities or skills and talents are being drawn upon, and hopefully you're going to get compensated in the right way. So you just need to be a little bit more focused and a little bit more choosy in what you're doing, because you also need to leave time for your personal relationships. Your planet Saturn is strongly focused in the personal area of the chart and feeling a little kind of lost or left out. So just balance what you have to do with the important benefits that you're getting from all your relationships at the moment, especially from people that you've known a long time, old friends, old connections, as well as new ones. It certainly looks like there's people in your life that you might have a long connection with, but that are only developing to important relationships at the moment. So don't be shy to ask, what can I gain from the people around me? What's the importance and meaning of this relationship in my life? Create value in your relationship so that you balance out your hardworking self a little bit better. Aquarius, it also looks like it's all about important relationships for you as well. In your case, though, you might be giving away too much of your energies into your relationships. It's all going well, it's all going to go well, and there's no real harm that arises out of that. But you know, you're someone who needs a bit of space, you need your own space, your own vibe, a chance to do your own thing, and neglecting that for too long can lead to problems in your relationships later on. So this is a great time to talk about it, to make it clear what you need and what your boundaries in relationships are. You're very good at helping at meeting the need of your partner or of other people or friends, which are shown as also important at this time. You're not so good at necessarily saying when it's enough and you need to draw the line. In fact, friends are really important at this time. Old friends and old connections are re-entering your life, or are the source of important opportunities to re-identify what you want to do and where you need to put some of those boundaries. Other good connections to make at the moment are business partnerships of any kind. This is a great opportunity to find an investor or a helper or input of some kind that's going to help you pursue one of your important goals. Just be a little bit more selfish this month and it'll work for you. Pisces, well, happy birthday to you, because it looks like it's really going to be a good one. You know, you're a person who's really good at going with the flow, and for the most part that'll work for you because it's probably quite a great strategy for life. But sometimes it's also going to mean you drift off in the wrong direction and get caught up in other people's stuff. While there are kind of warning signs about getting caught up in other people's stuff this month, a theme that seems to be affecting many people, you've got the Pisces luck really working for you at the moment. In fact, it's stronger than ever. Not only is luck about, well, things just work out for you, but luck can be a strategic opportunity to follow your path and pursue something that's very important to you. That's what it looks like there is the opportunity to do. This is the time to actually walk your path. So, birthday is New Year's Day, as astrology sees it. Use your birthday now, this month, in your Pisces month, to really plan a strategy for the months ahead, to go for something that's been close to your heart for a very long time, or something that is some aspects of your path that you've known for a very long time. It may or may not align with what you're doing out there in the working world, but it's really going to be an opportunity to satisfy the heart's desire and get great results. At the very least, it's going to be a lucky month for you. I'd be entering competitions, lotteries, and those kind of things, even though that usually takes an exceptional kind of luck that, of course, not all of us have. But just keep all the doors open, because it's a little bit like the universe wants to reward you this month, Pisces, and it's your birthday month. What better present could that be? So look forward to gains. Finally, the year's off to a good start for all of us. Have a good one, and I'll see you again next week.